the last few weeks, flimsy boats crammed with hundreds of battered Rohingya migrants have washed up on the shores of India, Thailand and Indonesia. Well, the migrants were fleeing Myanmar, but when they reached Thailand, claimed that local authorities beat them and forced them back out to sea in boats without engines. The plight of the Rohingyas, a Muslim minority from Myanmar, has focused attention once again on the role of ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. I'm Veronica Pedroza, and this week on 101 East, we ask if ASEAN can do more to stop its members from violating human rights. After drifting for 3 weeks in a rickety wooden boat with little food and water, almost 200 Rohingya migrants were rescued by Indonesian fishermen off the coast of Aceh. They were the lucky ones. It appears that hundreds more perished at sea. Hal Davis went to Aceh to talk to the survivors.
We managed to make the water last 10 days. After that, it was finished. Some of the men died pleading for water, but we couldn't give them any.
Dehydrated, hungry and traumatized. These men are among the latest Rohingya to reach Aceh, northern Indonesia. They're minority Muslims from Myanmar, and the story they tell is one of extraordinary inhumanity, but not from the authorities there. Leaving their country at the end of last year, they landed in Thailand. The men say they were detained by the Thai authorities for weeks, with many severely beaten.
They
arrested us and beat us until almost all of us were injured. We were hit and we were tortured. Almost all the time we were beaten. We have injuries. Some of us were hit in the eyes. A lot of people here, you can see, they have injuries.
The Thai armed forces have disputed previous claims of violence against Rohingya migrants. However, the doctors here in Indonesia say these injuries are consistent with beatings inflicted with rods and canes. But that's not the true horror of their ordeal. After their initial voyage from Myanmar and their detention in Thailand, the Rohingya say they were put in boats by the Thais and towed out to sea for 2 days. Then, for 3 weeks, they drifted. A few vessels eventually ending up in Indonesia after being found by fishermen.
I cannot describe it. All I can say is that 2 to 3 people died each day. They died of exhaustion, thirst and hunger.
Other ships are still missing, presumed lost, along with all the Rohingya on board. This one, with 198 people on it, was rescued by a fishing boat. The Rohingya say they were set adrift with no engine, a meagre amount of food, and even less water. After 10 days, they'd run out of both. In the remaining 11 days of drifting, at least 20 people died. It seems inconceivable that the men who towed this boat out to sea expected those aboard to survive. Around me are sunscreens and hammocks made from clothing and bits of old sacking, a pathetic attempt to cope with the conditions on board. And as the water ran out, men began to die in a way that's almost too horrible to contemplate. Their bodies thrown overboard. These are not the first allegations that Thai military units effectively tortured migrants and left them to die at sea. An ethnic and religious minority in Myanmar, Rohingyas like these men are often persecuted there, used as slave labour, denied jobs or even marriage licenses. That persecution and economic hardship have led a wave of Rohingya to flee Myanmar over the last 6 months. Many have landed in Thailand and made similar claims to the men in Aceh. Bangkok says it will prosecute those found guilty of abuses.
The Thai government is taking these claims very seriously. In the Thai system, there are 2 steps to be proceed. Prime Minister and the National Security Council have ordered all the units concerned this issue to come up with the facts.
But for some, getting the units concerned to investigate themselves is not enough. The nations involved are all members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. Last year, ASEAN leaders put into effect a landmark charter that aimed at promoting human rights and democracy. And some now are calling on the association to take action.
It's an issue that affects all ASEAN states. We cannot just push the problem back and forth. I think it's very simple. The governments have to take responsibility for these refugees. There must be an agreement that wherever these refugees are found, the government or receiving state should at least give them humanitarian aid and at least consider their status.
But since it was founded in 1967, the association has shown little interest in promoting human rights. And despite the Charter, there seems little rush to build institutions that do.
The human rights issue under the purview of ASEAN, specifically the ASEAN Charter, is still embryonic. I do not foresee that the formulation of a cohesive, well-structured human rights mechanism will be in the offing within the next 2 years.
Such a languid pace may well be welcomed by governments such as Thailand and Myanmar. For the Rohingya themselves, persecuted at home and now apparently abused when they try to escape, that'll be little comfort. And it means that men alleged to have died in the utmost misery may never get the justice they deserve.
Well, joining us from Bangkok is political analyst Dr. Titinan Pongsudhirak. Here in Kuala Lumpur's studio with me is Bun Negara. He's the associate editor of the Star newspaper. And on the phone from Michigan in the United States, ASEAN Secretary General Dr. Surin Pitsuwan. Thank you very much to all of you for coming in. First of all, I want to start with Dr. Titinan in Bangkok, because Thailand is particularly under pressure because of the abuse, the alleged abuse of the Rohingya was meted by Thai or Thai nationals, perhaps even Thai authorities. And Thailand is actually leading ASEAN at the moment. It's hosting the ASEAN meeting in a matter of weeks. So what can ASEAN's role realistically be in this situation?
The Rohingya's case has put Thailand on the spot. It also has posed new challenges for ASEAN. Now, we see that there are a lot of problems in the region that transcend boundaries. We don't really know who's in charge down there and whether the mistreatment actually occurred. So this is something that ASEAN can also address, but at the same time, ASEAN is facing some limitations here, because this boils down to the Burma-Myanmar issue again. Because if the Rohingyas are stateless, Burma-Myanmar will not accept them, Bangladesh will not accept them. ASEAN has to find a way to somehow cope and handle and accommodate. Otherwise, it will look like it's irrelevant.
Dr. Surin in Michigan, do you agree that this is about Myanmar, or is it about migrant workers, about cross-border issues, regional issues? And in that case, is ASEAN the right forum?
Definitely, it is a regional issue, and ASEAN is the foremost organization in the region. With the new ASEAN Charter in place, ASEAN leaders will have to grapple with this issue head-on. With the Charter, I don't think any issue is off the limits anymore. I think the Thai government, the chair of ASEAN now, has already proposed that there should be a focus group meeting among countries affected by the issue. And they are Thailand, Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, and Bangladesh.
Right, but Dr. Surin, the truth is that the ASEAN Charter is a piece of paper. What is going to turn it into firm action? Let's face it,
Veronica,
the Rohingya issue has been around for a while.
Say that it is just a piece of paper. I've been going around saying that once commitment is made, signatures signed at the international community, ASEAN people, ASEAN NGOs, ASEAN academics like Dr. Titinan, like you, media, can really make use of the Charter and ask for explanation, ask for compliance.
All right.
We have to make it work. We have to put life into it. And I, as Secretary General, certainly would like to see all leaders moving toward a more effective ASEAN.
But ASEAN is as strong as its members. It's made up of member governments. Bun Negara here in Kuala Lumpur, ASEAN members have never agreed about what policy to take towards Myanmar. Does the Charter really make it any easier in your view?
It certainly does. I think for the first time there is a legal entity for ASEAN and a common document on which to act on certain issues which were not articulated before, such as human rights, fundamental rights, democratic principles, rule of law and good governance. These issues are essential in terms of refugee flows, for example, and for once, although the document, the Charter is relatively new still, member states have a chance, an opportunity to actually test it, make use of it, make the most of it. I mean, all 10 countries of ASEAN have not only signed it but ratified it. So it is really up to all the members now to make fullest use of the Charter and go as far as it can in terms of humanitarian issues like refugee flows.
Forgive me for being sceptical, but Dr. Thitinan, look at the political situation, for example, in Thailand. Are these governments really going to concentrate on such issues, the migrant workers, the Rohingyas, they're stateless people when they are faced with an economic slowdown around the world and political problems of survival of their own?
I think it boils down to this. This is the moment of truth for ASEAN. The Charter now is the legal basis for which ASEAN can go forward with. However, if the Charter ends up being the codification of the ASEAN norm, and the ASEAN cardinal norm is non-interference, basically. Countries, members do not interfere in each other's affairs. If this holds, despite the Charter, then it's all more or less the same. However, the Charter provides mechanisms to go beyond that norm, beyond non-interference. So enforcement is the key. We will see this year very early that if the ASEAN Charter holds water or not.
Khun Surin, before we go to the break, I just want to ask you, in Michigan, how confident are you that those institutions that Dr. Thitinan just mentioned are going to really be effective? They're going to have budget. They're going to be given teeth, as it were.
Well, we are going through our process of drawing up terms of reference for these new institutions, for example, the human rights body. Now, it's going to be decided upon in July, not this summit, but in July by the foreign ministers. So it's again up to the leaders, up to the all components of ASEAN. You know, the NGO, the media, the academics, people like yourself, going to appeal to, going to demand, going to put in paper. Don't look at it as a piece of paper. It's something that can be made alive, something that can be made sacred.
Thank you very much. For the time being, we're going to pause, but we will continue our discussion after the break. Stay with us on 101 East.